Hi, this is Mind of a Ladybug with a walkthrough tutorial of how to sew the Ariadne Zipper Clutch by Mote It Be. This is a pattern that has been designed and produced by Renee Thomas, the owner and creator behind Mote It Be LLC.com. This tutorial, we're going to walk through prepping everything you will need to make your bag and to do it successfully, as well as going through a step-by-step guide. So hopefully you won't have too much trouble in putting this awesome bag together. Now for this bag, you can, when you start to go through it, you'll see there's some things that you can do different ways, and we'll address it when we come to those points. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look over this preface information to help us make sure that we have everything together. We're going to cover what the supplies are, the notions are, and what some of the abbreviations are. Now here under your supplies, it's telling you you're going to need a yard of exterior fabric, a yard of lining fabric, 1 yard of SF101, which is a medium weight fusible interfacing, 1 yard of Decoville light or comparable interfacing or stabilizer, a 12-inch 5 zipper, 2 6-inch 5 zippers, 1 8-inch 5 zipper, and 1 8-inch 3 zipper. And it says here that the zipper tape for this zipper might make completing the bag easier. When it says this, it's referring to your 8-inch number 5 zipper. You're also going to need some rivets, as well as 2 3/4-inch D-rings, 2 3/4-inch swivel hooks, 1 3/4-inch slide adjuster, and optional is nylon webbing. Now, if you are deciding to use 1-inch hardware, that is fine. I will make those adjustments when I get to the point where we're using those, because that is what I'm using in my bag. I use 1-inch hardware. For the notions, it's telling you need your usuals, which is clips or pins, an iron, a pressing cloth, rotary cutter, and cutting mat. If you don't have a rotary cutter, you can use scissors. Just make sure you have your fabric on a flat cutting surface and use a proper mat underneath. You're going to need scissors, a disappearing ink fabric marker, or if you have a chalk, that is fine, or I will say here, I use a lightweight pencil or a Sharpie depending on where I'm marking. If it does not bleed through, then I will use it. And if it comes off easily, I will use it. If it's the edge of my exterior vinyl or material, sometimes I'll just use a Sharpie. That is your personal choice, but remember, you have consequences to your choices. You're going to need a zipper foot and optional a denim needle, a walking foot or sewing for sewing layers together, and edge coating. If you're using a domestic machine, you want to make sure that you're using the proper needles. So you definitely want to use a denim needle or something that is made for heavier fabrics. I will be sewing this one on my domestic, so I make sure that I will be using the denim needle, and I will be using Tex 45 thread. For the abbreviations, we have the usuals: RS, right side, WS, wrong side, RST, right sides together, WST, wrong sides together, RSD, right side down, WSD, wrong side down, RSU, right side up, WSU, wrong side up. SA, seam allowance. You want to make sure that you take the time to read over all the instructions just to see how the bag is put together. You probably will still have questions, but hey, that's what this video is for. Here we go. On the next page of this pattern, you're going to see the cutting instructions along with the cutting list. It tells you to remember a few different things. You're going to remember to print this out at actual size or at 100 scale if you're making this clutch at the desired size that the pattern has been made for. If you're choosing to make it a mini, then you can go ahead and print it at whatever scale you like, but right now we're just doing this at 100% actual size. You're going to make sure that the tester box on your printout is the right size. By the tester box, you will see a box like this, 1-inch test square or a 4-centimeter test square. You're going to make sure that those things are measuring as they should at 1 inch or 4 centimeters. There are some helpful hints here of things to make note of, which is you want to go ahead and cut out any zipper holes or any punch holes in the pattern pieces, not on your pieces, but on your pattern pieces, to make it easier to transfer later on. You don't necessarily need to transfer the punch holes because you might actually move them around from where you are thinking about that they need to be once you get the front assembled. So I would definitely cut out the zipper pockets, the zipper holes on the pattern pieces, but not so much the punch holes for the rivets for the lapels. You're going to make sure that you put your pattern pieces on the right side of your fabric when you're cutting them out. And then if you're going to do any edge coating, it says here, edge coat pattern pieces B, C, G, and H after cutting them out to save the time while you're sewing. So that way when you go to sew them all together, you're not having to edge coat as you go along. You can just edge coat at the beginning and get it done with. Here you're going to see a list of all the pieces that you're going to need, as well as what part of the bag they belong to. If it's an exterior fabric, it's going to let you know. If it's a lining fabric, it'll let you know how many. If it's interfacing, it'll tell you how many you need and possibly what you will be cutting it out of. On the next page, you're going to see that she already has cut piece labels. You can go ahead and cut these out, and then as you're cutting out your pieces, go ahead and just clip them to the pieces. That way you know which pieces are which. Or if you have a light marking tool or a pencil or something that will lightly write, like the transfer like the erasing pens or such, or just a lightweight pencil, you can write the letter in very small corners of the pieces on the back side if you would like to do that. But like I said, remember, when you choose what you're writing with, make sure you know the decision you're making and you will own up the consequences. We're going to go over the pieces of the patterns and what parts of the bag they will cover. This here is pattern piece A. It is for your main body. You're going to be cutting 1 from exterior fabric and 2 from the lining fabric. This is going to be the piece that is going to cover the entire back of this clutch, as well as your lining for both the front and the back. So there'll be 3 total pieces, 1 of the exterior, 2 of the lining fabric. And on here you can see this little half of a box cut out because this is actually going to be on the fold of the fabric. This is only going to be cut out on your lining piece, on one of the lining pieces. This is going to be your inner zip pocket. So remember, only cut this little square out on one of the lining pieces. And it will be twice as wide because this will be opened and be a full width. This is cut on the fold, so when you open this up, this box will be twice as wide and only on one of your lining pieces. This here is pattern piece B. On the pictures, you can notice that this is going to be the left chest. Now, it does feel backwards because this, if you're looking at it, is your left and this is your right, but if this was turned around the opposite way and you're looking at it, this would be the left side of the chest and this would be the right side of the chest. So this says left chest and lapel. It is this left half side right here and this lapel that's bent back. Now, make sure when you cut your pattern pieces out, you match the B part on both pieces and just tape them together. You want to go ahead and have this hole right here. This is going to be your pocket placement for this zipper right here on the front. Now, you do not have to cut this picture out here, this box out here just yet. I typically don't because I want to make sure that my window is going to be matching up, and it just makes it easier for me to put that pocket in without having this one cut out. So I did not cut this one out. This here is going to be your faux pocket placement. If you choose to have the pocket on the front, you can see here she has a slight like a flap and it's secured with a rivet. You can do this pocket however you like. You can replace it with the patch. You can do whatever you want. I am going to have a like a two level stacked faux pocket going on right here. So you'll see how I look at that later on when we get to that point. But this is the left chest lapel. It's going to be covering this part of the chest and this lapel on the underside right here. Okay. This is pattern piece C, left lapel back. And by back, it's going to be this part right here that you see that's facing up. This side that's facing you, that's what this piece is here. All right. This is pattern piece D, right chest. It's going to be this side of the chest right here on the front, and you're going to cut 1 from the exterior fabric. Now, although I do have this square cut out right here, you do not have to cut this square out just yet. Like I said, for the left side of the chest, I like to leave this filled in until I get to the point where I really need to transfer that marking, because I want to make sure that my are lined up correctly. All right. This is pattern piece E for the middle chest. You're going to be cutting 1 from your exterior fabric. And this middle chest piece is this piece that you see right here. It's going to be the base for this section right here underneath these lapels. And this portion that you're seeing right here, all this is going to be part E, pattern piece E. It's going to be under there. All right. Here's pattern piece F. This is an optional overlay. You're going to be cutting 1 from your exterior fabric. This is going to be applied on your lining in the inside to go around your zipper for your interior zipper. So this is an optional overlay piece. I will be cutting this piece out for mine, so we'll show you how to get that on there when we get to that point. This is pattern piece G, the right lapel. You're going to be cutting 2 from your exterior fabric and 1 mirrored. Now, this is the right side. This is your right side. Remember, it's going to be this lapel right here, this lapel piece, and whatever is behind this portion, that's the lapel you're talking about. You're going to be cutting out 2 of them, and you need them to be mirrored. So for one piece, this will be the right side up. For your other piece, this will be the right side up. So that way when you put them both together, it's the right side on both sides, okay? This here is pattern piece H, which is the collar. You're going to be cutting 2 from your exterior fabric. You're going to be cutting 1 mirrored. So like the last piece, this side will be side up on one, and then this side will be the right side up on the other. You also are going to make note of the markings that are here and here. Both markings, you want to go ahead and mark them. Let's see how tall they are. Yes. And both of these markings are 1/4 of an inch up. So make sure that these are 1/4, exactly 1/4 of an inch, because that will be something to pay attention to later when we're putting this together. So make sure that both of these are marked on both pieces and you have it cut at 1/4 of an inch at both of those lines. Here is your optional pattern piece I, which is the faux pocket. You want to cut 1 from your exterior fabric. Now, if you choose to do a different style of pocket or something else at that point, this is where you can have some fun, do something, something different, something with a pop of color, something just original. Do you? This is the part I am going to do a little differently, and we'll cover that once we get to it. This is your lining zipper pocket. You're going to be cutting 2 from your lining fabric and 2 from woven interfacing. If you're using waterproof canvas though as your lining, then you don't have to worry about the woven interfacing. You're just going to be cutting 2 from your waterproof canvas. Now, if you cut 2, you're going to be cutting 2 8x6 pieces, 8 inches wide, 6 inches tall. When you put your zipper in, you're going to be putting one of these is going to have that hole stitched around it, right, with the overlay. The other one will be the back side of the zipper. The back side of your pocket. If you want to just do your inner zipper lining as one long piece that you just want to fold, then you're going to be cutting it 8 inches wide, but 12 inches long. And then that way, when you put your zipper in, you're going to lay it in place. You're going to stitch that hole around, and then you're just going to be folding the bottom of it up and closing up your zipper pocket by sewing the sides and across the top, which is another common way to do zipper pockets. So if you want to just do the front, turn it to the other side, and then stitch on the back side of that pocket, do 2 pieces at 8x6 inches. Or if you want to do a long piece that you're just going to fold up, do 1 8x12 inches. This is your front zipper pocket. You're going to be sewing this in turned sideways like this. So don't let it throw you off, but these are referring to the pockets that are here and here on the front. So on this front zipper pocket, it says you're going to cut 2 from lining fabric, cut 2 from woven interfacing, but the same as before. If you're using waterproof canvas like I am, you don't need to interface it. You just need to cut out 2. If you want to sew this as it is, now I did mark top and bottom on this one. That way I just make sure I have it right when I'm doing it every time. This pocket is actually going to be put in like one long piece and then folded over. And then it's going to be sewn around like that to close it once you get it installed on the back side of this. Now, to me, this is a nice small pocket. It might be good for change, some coins, or some lip gloss, quick touch-up stuff. But if you like a deeper pocket, maybe something to possibly put your phone in, I would suggest leaving it this long for the whole entire pocket, which means you either need to cut out 2 of them like this, or cut out one that is twice as long. So either I cut out 2 6x9 pieces, or I cut out 1 6x18 piece, which will actually let me take my pocket from this side way over here. And then I can do the same for this one. Have a pocket on this side that'll reach way over here. It almost gives you a pocket all the way through on both sides, but actually it just gives you a really long pocket on both sides. Now you can decide you want to do a shallow pocket on one side for your lip gloss and then a deep pocket on the other side for your phone. It's up to you. But the way this pattern is made is that you're going to have 2 pockets on the front. They'll be roughly this size, one here and one here. In this one that I'm doing, I will have 2 pockets that are both this long. So I'm going to be making, I'm going to be cutting my pieces as 2 long pieces. So I'll be cutting 2 6x18 pieces, one for each pocket. You also want to make sure that you are cutting out your D-ring connectors for your straps, and you're going to be cutting zipper tabs for the ends of your zipper. Now, I will say this. I cut my zipper tab later on in this because to me it was just easier to do it that way, but make sure you check the width of your zipper. If you're using continuous roll zipper, your zipper tab may need to be 1 1 1.25 inch, 1 1/4 inches square, because continuous roll zipper, the nylon coil that most bag makers use is a little bit wider than sometimes in regular tape. Sometimes their tape is only 1 inch wide, and sometimes continuous roll zipper can be 1 1/4 inch wide. So you want to make sure that your zipper tab is actually going to be the width of this zipper tape. So from here to here, you want to make sure that your tab is as wide as your zipper tape in square. And then for the D-ring connectors, if you're using 3/4 inch hardware, definitely this will be the square you cut out. For mine, I'm using 1 inch hardware, and you can see here on this pattern that this D-ring connector is 1.5 inches, because 1.5 inches divided by 2 is 3/4 inch. So I'm going to make sure that since I'm going to be using 1 inch hardware, I'm going to cut my piece 2 inches wide. Now it will be the same height, but I'll just make mine 2 inches wide. All right. Another piece that you're also going to have is your top edge. And it says cut 2 from exterior, cut 2 from Decoville light. That's optional. And it tells you also the cut size here. Now this cut size says it's 13.5 by 1 5/8 inch. So it'll be 13.5 long, and it'll be 1 5/8 inch from top to bottom. This top edge that it's speaking about is going to be a top edge that will be going across this, it'll be going across this top section here of this clutch. And it'll be both on the front and on the back. All right. Those are all the pieces you're going to need. Now that we've gone over the prep things that you need for this pattern, we're going to go ahead and gather everything up that we saw here on this supply list. We're going to get together all of our zippers. We're going to get together our hardware. We're going to grab a handful of our rivets. And the next video will be over how to start putting together and prepping your bag, or in this case, your clutch.